the ground there, actually. I should really, get back to it.
Of course. Go ahead. Oh, and Kate, send me a note later. Thanks.
Hello, Nathan? Sorry to keep you waiting, my editor. Where were we?
Hey, you were asking about the guy, the one that went back there, the guy that,
Ah, that's right. And did you know him well?
No, not really. He worked maintenance on our trucks.
He was employed by IDAP?
No, nothing like that. I mean, he just helped us out a few times. Off the book stuff. Guy was a local mechanic. Family business type thing, you know?
I see.
I remember he had a place on the edge of town, not far from our setup. We'd chat from time to time. He's a nice guy, friendly.
And do you know where he was going that day?
To the church.
He was going to church?
No, don't get me wrong. I mean, that place had been abandoned for almost a year. But he was looking for his brother.
At the church?
Yeah, there'd been reports of, pretty brutal firefight up there. He'd heard his brother might have been caught up in it.
Sure, but I'm not quite clear on this. Was his brother still alive?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think he knew either. Seems like he was on his way to find out.
So, his brother, he was in the army?
Yes and no. It's complicated. You gotta remember it was pretty chaotic back then.
Of course. Okay, let's back up a bit.
Sure.
What complicated the situation?
Just the history of it all. His brother had been a recruit in the Altus Armed Forces, boot camp, basic training, you know? Well, this is back when NATO was still keeping the peace. But after U.S. forces pulled out, apparently he deserted.
Do you know why?
No, just I know they argued a lot about it.
Hello? Kate speaking.
Hey, sorry about that. Call must have dropped. Here's garbage.
It's understandable. Are you still driving?
Yeah, we're not at the town yet. Hold on a sec. Andy, we almost there.
We're, a little ways out. Oh, and we need to make one quick stop, too.
Thanks, bud. So, where'd you get cut?
You're telling me about the church? The landmine? The accident?
Right, yeah. Well, of course, a civilian mechanic like that, particularly in the church, I guess it kind of refocused our attention.
Had IDAP been particularly active in the area?
Yeah. I mean, our project had a handful of camps spread across the country. But yeah, I was in the town itself for a few months. It's all different now.
How so?
Well, for one thing, IDAP used to be based right in the heart of Oreocastro. Of course, this was all pre-war. I remember, at that time, the local military maintained a checkpoint on the outskirts of town. That was understandable. I mean, the whole area was a kind of Wild West. Big mashup of civilian and guerrilla infrastructure. Disaster waiting to happen, really. I don't know. It's strange to see our camp based there now.
Hey, sorry about the holdup. We're on the way now.
All right, thanks, Andy.
So, what's your role there today?
Now, general look was vague. There was a lot of damage. IDAP fills the camp. Drinking water, basic medicine, post-war food.
And on the ground, how does that translate to your work?
It's a mixed bag. Like today, part 2 mining, part unexploded
Heads up, Mac. Almost there.
Got it. Yeah, we're arriving now. Give me a sec.
All right, Mac. Got your stuff all laid out here.
Hold on just a sec, Kate. I need to get set up.
Take your time.
All right, then. You got everything? Detector working? You remember how to switch it on, right?
Hey, sorry, I forgot to mention, the demining toolkit, totally forgot to pack it up this morning.
That's no big deal. We're just locating the mines for now. Just keep me posted.
Are you free to talk, Nathan?
Sure. For now, I'm just sweeping the road for mines, getting a lay of the land, you know. The detector lets us see what we're dealing with here. I can work and chat.
Question. What happens when you do find a landmine?
Ordinarily, we disarm it, but today, small oversight, we haven't got all our gear right now.
Oh, it's on the way, I hope.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, since the war's now over, has your own role changed at all?
Yeah, I guess so. Now I'm almost entirely focused on EOD and UXO.
And that's something you did in the military, too?
Yeah, that's the thing about mines. War or not, win, lose, they don't go away.
How many minefields are you facing in Altus?
That we know of, 22. 23 including whatever's here. Plus you've got Stratus, another 4 over there, I think.
I see. And can you estimate roughly how long it would take to remove them all?
A lot of variables, but cleanup operation of this size, it's only IDAP. We're talking years.
Do you ever get nervous?
Yeah, but not when I'm working. It hits you after. Or before. Andy, I'm at the barricade.
Cool. And the road?
Yeah, that's what we thought. Dozen or so APs, nothing the old Bobcat can't handle.
How well do you remember the town?
You mean before it was... There was a beautiful oak tree here once, 300 years old. Folks used it as a meeting spot. They'd pin notes for one another on the trunk. Where a camp used to be.
Anything left?
Not much. Few memories, maybe. There's some old boxes here.
I don't.
Yeah. It was NATO that helped bring him in. Actually, it was one hell of a supply drop.
Adams? He went out alone?
From the way he told it, he may as well have. No, he went along with some new recruits, local bunch. It was his job to show him the ropes.
So, the supply drop, this was when exactly?
Right around the time we saw the ceasefire starting to break down. Must be more than a year ago now.
So, at that time, your camp was in the center of town?
Yeah, things were getting pretty desperate, though. I remember we hadn't been resupplied in months. No food, water, medicine. We were used to issues with logistics, but I don't know, in the end it got so bad U.S. forces prepared an airdrop. Not an easy task, considering, but those crates, they really were life and death. That's why we needed somebody on the ground. Someone to make sure they came down okay.
And who was that?
It was his job to locate a drop zone.
In the mountains?
Mm-hmm. Needless to say, High Command always had ideas, but they weren't always good. Plus, no one had planned for those crosswinds flaring up. But our supplies were already in the air.
He made a spur-of-the-moment decision?
Pretty much, yeah. Although he described it with more, direct language. tossed out an orange smoke grenade, which marked his position from the pilot. As I recall, the bottles of purified water were fine. We've been waiting on those for weeks. Medical items, you can imagine how pleased we were to see those around.
So they landed safely?
Yeah, they were fine. It wasn't uncommon for the sacks of grain to split on impact, but that time, we got lucky. He didn't lose a single one. Thankfully, the rice seemed okay. As for the crates, they still needed to be checked before anyone else arrived.
Engage at will. Down and quiet. Engage. Standing by. Move right. Roger. Contact. Technical. 300 meters. Bearing 210. Contact. Technical. 75 meters left.
Now, the thing with airdrops, they're not exactly subtle. Smoke, noise of the plane, those bright green parachutes, they're gonna get you noticed. And when you're in the middle of bandit country, that's a problem.
Fall back.
Solid copy.
Get ready for contact. Move out! On the move! Contact! Machine gunner! Move 100 meters! Right!
On the way! On the move!
200 meters! Front! Move 100 meters! Back!
Roger that.
Changing mags! Attack the sniper! Front!
Jackie! Engage! Look, I'm on it!
Changing mags!
The guerrillas attacked.
Yeah, from what I heard, it was pretty intense. I don't have the numbers, but maybe 6 or 7 were killed.
What happened when the supplies had been secured?
Adams would fire a flare.
Return to formation!
Back at the camp, of course, we'd heard all the gunfire, but that flare, when we spotted it, I don't know, felt like finding a moment of hope or something.
Sure. I can only imagine. And thanks for sharing. It puts a human perspective on my work. Speaking of which, your friend, do you think he'd be willing to contribute further? Even, off the record. What with the topic of my article, having an expert, an instructor on the laws of war.
Look, I'm sorry. I know he'd help out however he could, but listen, he died on Stratus. Year and a bit later. Landmine.
Mac, heads up. Bobcat's
That's fine, thanks, Andy. It's gonna get a little noisy. What a mess. Loose rubble everywhere.
You up at the armory, Mac? We need to make a note to sort that shit out. Probably a whole bunch of ordnance lying around.
I'll come back later. Okay, road's safe now. Bring the van on up.
Will do. Also, Matt, the NATO guys, they've kicked in all the doors. You're free to search inside the buildings now.
Got it. At least I can get out of the fucking rain. I'll come find you in a bit.
Have fun reminiscing.
Hey, Andy.
Yep. What's up?
What's the deal with the church? Can we get in or what?
Sorry, Mac. No dice. NATO's got first dibs. They're bringing their boys home. Bag and tag. Let's leave them to it.
I'll come back later.
The mechanic you've been telling me about, he and his brother, they'd always lived there.
In the town, you mean? Yeah, as far as I know. The family business, the garage, it kind of kept them rooted. I got a UXO here dug right into the wall.
Shit. You'll need the toolkit for that job. I'll get on the horn to dispatch, see what's taking them so long.
I'll come back later. Hey, quick tidbit for you. Oreocastro means beautiful castle in the local lingo.
Oh, I didn't know that. Do you speak the language?
Not so much, only with the older generation. Not a problem now, though.
Oh?
Well, Oreocastro's pretty much a ghost town. Nothing here but remnants of war and a couple of ghosts. And they aren't exactly great conversationalists. Morning. You been in?
You kidding me? I ain't going in there, man. That shit's all yours.
Where are you now?
Who, me? I'm exploring.
I can hear an echo.
Yeah, I'm in what used to be the mayor's place, actually. At least it was before the government. The people here, they didn't have much love for their army.
Why do you think that is?
History, I guess. This place never supported the military takeover, the Kavala coup and all that. Plus, stationing troops in the town, nobody believed the government's spin about training. They were seen as an occupying force there to keep a lid on things. I got a leaflet here. The army must have scattered thousands of these.
Propaganda.
Something like that. This one says, there's still time to surrender. Maybe a bad choice of words considering.
Time to surrender? What's the context here?
Oh, this was last year, September. These leaflets, they were dropped maybe a day before the fighting began. You see, the guerrillas there, they'd found themselves a new leader. Charismatic, ex-military. For him, this was no time to surrender. Far from it. In fact, he used that time to rally his people, encourage them to resist, build defenses. Meanwhile, the army was setting up for a major offensive. The attack on Oreocastro, it was no secret. Of course, after the leaflet dropped, IDAP started to pull out of the town. So the little I do know, well, that brings us back to the brother. The one who disappeared. His name was Alexis. He volunteered to build a barricade. Town was his home, after all.
If I understand it, you know about what happened through the brother. Alexis, was it?
Not directly, but, you know, it's a small town, right? People knew Alexis. After what happened here, I talked to the locals. Found out what I could. The rest of what I know is pieced together from the commission report itself.
Actually, that incident report, the evidence you submitted, that's partly why I asked for an interview. I want to gain a human perspective.
Bottleneck. The guerrillas hope to block the road by jamming it with vehicles. As for the vehicles in the barricade, the commission actually linked the plates to a number of locals. Of course, several were still missing after the incident, so the investigation made some assumptions. Back then?
Yes, they were quite frequent. Well, I'd have to be concerned about that.
Oh, yeah. Any kind of disaster relief on top of what we were dealing with, it would have just about finished us off completely. I'd have some travel news one thing, but the situation they face was quite another.
Do you say even your own people? So, just to clarify, in your email, you said you served as a combat engineer, the Marine Corps?
That's right. South Zagoria, generous.
Then it's fair to say you're no stranger to the subject of my article, the laws of armed conflict.
I've seen a few things, heard stories. It's rarely been, you know, true stuff like
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to get your perspective. You've seen things from both sides. I mean, now the NGO too.
sure. Sorry, I should. Listen, I was thinking, even to the local police system. I remember I was talking to Robert Georgiopoulos, and he was actually very good about those things.
How so?
Something about Richard.
After Alexis built the barricade, what then? Did he stay inside the town?
No, that's where the story gets more complicated. The barricade itself was later chained up and set on fire by someone else. I don't know quite who. Alexis, he headed west to lay mines. Anti-tank mines were already in the ground. If there's no pull fuse, and so long as they've not been stacked, they aren't too hard to remove. But Alexis, although he didn't use anti-handling devices, he did create a hybrid minefield.
AT mines. Mixed with APs.
That's it, yeah. He put anti-personnel mines around the anti-tank ones, made clearance all that much harder.
These mines, how did they get hold of them?
They got them when the government's outposts fell into guerrilla hands. Bounding mines. The type that leaps up a meter into the air before exploding. Nasty stuff. Hell, nowadays they're even made with plastic casing to throw off.
And they're still there?
Mm-hmm. And not for long. We're setting up our demining drones as we speak. You know, thinking about it, even if we had a record of where Alexis's mines were, it may not do much good.
No? I thought minefield maps were a key part of your work.
Most folks don't realize, but landmines, they don't stay put. Heavy rain, landslides, keeping... Alexis proved to be quite the combat engineer. He placed the mines exactly as he'd been shown.
So, moving on, where did Alexis go next?
He took a quad bike up to the castle behind the town.
castle? Why?
He was needed at the Guerrilla's base camp.
Okay. His group are running things from up at the castle.
And I see what you're getting at. Yeah, Geneva Convention's cultural objects, I think.
The barricade. There wasn't any way around it then.
From the road? No, well, not unless you cut through the compound.
Maybe a technical question.
Go ahead.
In these situations, did those involved commonly recall the locations of minefields?
That's a tough one. Take this situation, for example. I'm convinced Alexis would have made a record. It's his home, after all. But do we have access to that information? No. And that's the problem. Things, information, people, landmines, they get lost in the fog of war. But that's the thing about landmines. Lost or not, they stick around. They wait to be found.
Do you feel these preparations made a difference?
In the short term, I do, yeah. The barricade held. The government's tanks were knocked out on the road.
And in the long term?
I'd go on, but as you may have heard, it's getting kind of loud here.
By the sounds of it, you've got your hands full.
This will only take a minute. Be right back.
Oh, by the way, while you were busy chatting to, well, whoever that isn't your wife.
I told you, Andy, she's a journalist. Get to the point.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I assembled the demining drones.
Both of them?
Well, yeah. They're by the van.
All right, got the terminal.
Cool. So just connect it to a drone and, yeah, take control.
You got it?
Looking good.
So, you're gonna want to use the auto hover mode. Switch it on whenever you need to stay in one place.
Auto hover, right.
I'll arm the explosives once you've reached the minefield. Heads up. Enabling charges. Okay, now, the bombs. You only got 4. Release one and it'll drop straight down. Simple physics. If you run out, fly over to the van. There's plenty spare.
Thanks.
Having fun there?
Making things go boom, you know it. These demining charges pack quite a punch. What's in them?
500 grams of Crovex water gel, baby. back on over to the van. I'll be out. Safety's on.
Good.
There you are. Set it down where you started. Over by those white containers.
Question. How can I see if I've gotten all the mines?
Your drone's got a dedicated sensor. Get close enough, and it'll detect any nearby explosives.
Gonna need another resupply.
No problem, Mac. Same deal. Send it back for resupply.
All right, almost done. That's it. What the fuck was that?
Relax, relax. It sounds like it came from the other side of town. You want me to take a look?
No, stay put. I'll go. Yeah, collapsed building, UXO, I bet. Skittish things at the best of times.
Disturbed by your demining activity?
Could be. That's what makes them so damn dangerous. You never know if they're gonna stay unexploded. Hello. How'd you get here?
Another find?
Mm-hmm. Laser designator. Kind of thing special forces would use to call in an airstrike.
Oh, interesting. Actually, the airstrike on the town, the details of that are fuzzy. Do you happen to remember it well? The airstrike, I mean.
Yeah. October 13th. Cluster bomb. Town was shook up pretty bad. The army just wasn't able to capture the place. And Colonel Arcanteros, he did not tolerate failure. So he asked foreign powers to intervene. Come in, break the guerrillas' resolve.
Right. And the evidence in the commission report, doesn't it point to CSAT?
Yeah. But truth can be the first casualty.
Sure, but didn't somebody witness them in action?
From a distance, yeah. Though he wasn't exactly what you'd call reliable. Guy was a goat herd. Barely spoke any English.
That was not in the report I read.
It never is. Still, he did say they came down by parachute, and that at least was corroborated by multiple sources.
حرکت میبینم. سلاح ایستا. 600 متر. قرب.
These operatives, then? They moved in on the castle?
Yep. Must have been a fire team at least.
عقب بشینید. دریافت شد. به میل خودت درگیر شو. سربازها به میل خودتون شلیک کنین. درگیر. دشمن داریم. تیرانداز 400 متر غرب. درگیری مسلسلچی 300 متر سمت 285. درگیری مسلسلچی 400 متر غرب.
The man who claimed to have seen all of this, is there anything else you can tell me about him?
Not much. Like I say, simple goat herd. Lived alone. Small stone shed just north of the castle.
منو پوشش بده.
were they doing there, on Altis, at this time?
They were an embedded training team, ETT. Officially, they were just there to oversee counterinsurgency operations.
And unofficially?
Anyone's guess. A lot of different rumors. Black sites, car bombs, false flags. The guerrillas were taken out, one by one.
Okay, درگیری مرد 200 متر جلوتر درگیری مرد 200 متر جلوتر پوشش میدم
Fired against the short-burst Hispanic radio channel.
من پوشش میدم برو
درگیری افسر درگیری مرد 75 متر سمت راست ما
برو برو من پوشش میدم برو
Then, silence. If we're to believe the goat herd, they then set up a position on the battlements. Moved to a vantage point on the castle's outer wall.
به شکلی پوشش میدم
Okay, according to my notes, several targets were identified from afar, presumably by these special forces at the castle. Once they had a handle on what was what, they called it in. A jet approached from the east and dropped a single bomb. The positions in the town were then destroyed. Does that match up with events as they were given to you?
Yeah, though to manage a guided strike like that, they must have had thermal imaging.
درگیری تیرانداز از خفا 600 متر سمت 210 دشمن دیده شد هدف ناشناس 600 متر سمت 210 درخواست حمله هوایی به موقعیت فرستاده شد تمام
Do you know why the government signed off on such a heavy-handed response? A cluster bomb? That's rather indiscriminate. Even if it was laser-guided.
Sure, I mean, with a designator, you just switch it on, aim it at, well, whatever. The idea is that you remain in place, keep the laser on target. But even if it's done perfectly, a lot of uncontrolled variables. One of our doctors was out on the front line with medical supplies.
Wait, he wasn't at the church?
No, he was out in the open.
درگیری مسلسل چی؟ 600 متر سمت 210.
By all accounts, the town just seemed to explode. Buildings were burning for days.
And this spotter, he just disappeared?
Yeah. Last seen leaving the castle, heading west.
Let's talk about IDAP's doctor. You said he was on his way to the church. Did he make it there?
He did. Sheer dumb luck. That airstrike was coming, whether he was in the town or not. I can certainly say the devastation was severe. Dozens killed, combatants and non-combatants alike. The guerrillas, they were in total disarray. Many fled, retreating to the mountains. And IDAP, we did what we could, but there were so many wounded. So many we'd never be able to identify.
Nathan?
No, I'm still here. I just need to grab something real quick. This will only take a sec.
I understand that CSAT denied any involvement.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe with good reason.
Oh?
Look, I don't know. There were shell casings found at the castle. NATO mil-spec.
Okay, so then either they were supplying the guerrillas or
they were there. Maybe trying to win back the government support. Maybe...
what?
I don't know.
Hear that? Sounds like our delivery drone.
I'm on it.
Just, check the box underneath for the toolkit.
I swear to God, Andy, if it's empty again...
That was one time. Trust me, you'll be dicking around with landmines soon enough, Mac.
Good, toolkit's here. See you later, little buddy.
What's that?
Nothing, just, talking to myself.
Okay, little buddy. Sure thing.
Hey, how are you getting on?
Not bad, not bad. The gear's finally arrived from dispatch. I can start deactivating mines and leftover ordnance now.
Oh, right. Do you do that by hand?
Sure do. Crawl up close, identify it, and then just, disarm the thing.
I'm sure it's more involved than that.
Yeah, well, I may have skipped the part where, it can explode. The church, where the mines are, it's sealed off now.
By IDAP?
No, NATO. They lost some guys there in the firefight. One of their EODs is helping clear the place. But, he's not exactly moving quickly. Hey, Andy.
Yep. What's up?
What's the deal with the church? Can we get in or what?
Sorry, Mac. No dice. NATO's got first dibs. They're bringing their boys home. Bag and tag. Let's leave them to it.
Come back later. You know, Alexis' house, his workshop, it was like something from another time.
I'm not quite sure I follow.
Pounding of a hammer, back and forth of a wood saw, I don't know. Things felt simpler back then, is all. Far cry from what was to come. You were one sneaky little bastard. Now, what were you hiding upstairs? There's an old photograph here. Picture of Alexis and his brother Marcos.
The civilian killed at the church. The landmine, right?
Yeah. Although, honestly, it was a small miracle he'd made it that far.
Tell me more about Marcos.
Poor guy. He always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He'd made it through the airstrike, but only to get caught up in the assault that followed right after.
There were still guerrillas in the town, even after the strike.
But Oreocastro, it wasn't just a town. It had become a symbol of resistance. It was important for both sides, and government forces were making their final push. Alexis had made it out, but his brother, like I say, Marcos was always shit out of luck. The guy had been waiting at his brother's place. Marcos was caught in the leg by shrapnel.
I see. Do you think he went on to talk his brother into leaving?
Marcos was a civilian in a camp. He had to get to the church. two later, the government sent a truck to our camp. The soldiers searched the civilians for hidden weapons.
But they didn't find any.
No, and we'd already checked. It's vital our camps are weapon-free spaces, safe havens.
And Marcus, he must have made it through then.
Yeah, just about. We talked a few times after. I don't know, he seemed different.
I can imagine why. And what did he do after?
Hard to tell, but like I said, he kept looking for his brother.
Of course. And Marcus, his body, is still there in the churchyard?
Yeah. To think he survived all that just to return to the same spot less than a year later.
Nathan, you said that Alexis had been a recruit in the Altis Armed Forces.
Yeah, that's right.
So his decision to leave the army, to join the guerrillas, do you know how that came about?
It's funny, I asked Marcos the same thing once. He just looked at me and shrugged. Later on, I heard their father had been killed in the Civil War, but I don't know. Whatever his reasons, Marcos seemed to have made peace with the fact he wouldn't change his brother's mind. NATO's been busy. Even managed to clear out a few mines. Special type, too. Very distinctive.
Remnants of the firefight, the one you've been telling me about.
That's right.
And Alexis, he'd been there.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I just met a guy claiming to have known him.
So, this firefight, it was... Just let me check the calendar. 8 days ago?
Yeah. Day of the NATO invasion. After the flashpoint on Stratus, there was chaos. Nobody seemed to know what to do. Finally, NATO got their act together, launched an assault on the Altis mainland.
And CSAT?
Caught off guard by the whole thing. They were there to fight guerrillas, not start World War III. So when CSAT dropped their support, government forces panicked. They were on the back foot. Needed to regroup. Major Gavras was put in charge, but it was a tall order. Gavras tried to fortify their position in the northwest, but it was a risk, and he ended up cut off. The guerrillas, they didn't hesitate, stormed its position, sent the survivors running.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, how did you come to hear this?
Customs Dimitri, when the neighbors had along with Gavras, the two of them were trying to make Think of it like a portable minefield. This thing throws 14 rounds as much as 50 feet, spread out across a wide arc of fire in front of it.
And they're designed to maim rather than kill.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. They can still be lethal.
Helicopter with 088207.
The Major ordered Cousins to place mines too.
I see an explosive. Car, half a click, northeast. Truck, half a click, northeast. Dimitiro, attack that truck, northeast.
They scattered the mines and sat tight, waiting for the enemy. Facing those kind of odds, it was the only thing they could do.
Clear. I see an explosive. Contact, man! Enemy! Dimitiro! Fire at that soldier! Contact rifleman! Contact rifleman! Contact soldier! Contact soldier! Fire at the officer! Right flank! Engage! Engaging! Engaging target! Dimitiro! Engage that machine gunner! Just up ahead! Contact machine gunner! Cover me! Reloading! Contact man! Hit. Move
Finally, the
300
message
meters.
came.
Back.
Second helo was inbound.
They dispatched another.
Yeah, it was a risk, sure, but government forces were in free fall and the major was important. They just had to get to a different LZ before reinforcements turned up and cut them off. Man's inhumanity. It's really something.
Contact, soldier! Changing max! Contact, soldier!
But Dimitriou, he didn't remember exactly what happened.
To Alexis.
Right. He didn't give any details.
Clear. Spotted a mine.
Talk to me about the Major. What happened when he returned? Did he survive the war?
Yeah, he did. He's pretty much the reason NATO's invasion. You heard about the fierce fighting in Guerrilla?
Yes, a colleague of mine covered that, actually.
Well, that was Gavras. He held the line till the government capitulated. And now, actually...
Parachutes, 200 meters, right up ahead.
Honestly, Nathan, all this information, it's a godsend. You've given me loads to work with here.
It's nothing, really.
Now, there's just one last question I'd like to ask you. It's subjective, so take your time.
Sure. Fire away.
In your opinion, who's most to blame for all the suffering in Oreocastro? NATO? The guerrillas? CSAT? The Altis Armed Forces? Or, I don't know, something else?
I'd have to say, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think it's quite so black and white. It's more black and gray. Hell, gray and gray, you know? No one side can be held accountable for the bloodshed here. No one action got us where we are now. I don't know. What can we do? Just double down on our efforts. Heal the wounds. And the folks here in Oreocastro, they're the ones that have suffered. This is the reality. This is war.
Hey, Nathan, I have a link for you. It's to my article. Be gentle, it's a draft. My editor's running it by legal as we speak.
Oh, right, yeah, the mines. I've still got work to do here.
Of course. Okay, well, thanks again for everything. Should I let you get on, or...?
I don't mind talking. Maybe I can tell you a bit more about the town.
How does IDAP distribute aid? It's a big logistical operation.
Oh, yeah. As the name suggests, we're an international organization. You wouldn't believe the paperwork. Supplies come in from all over Europe, end up at our depot in the Netherlands.
And they're shipped out from there?
Mm-hmm. Worldwide. Ground convoys make up the last leg of the journey. Though sometimes we rely on helilifts and air drops.
Mac, got a quick update for you.
Listen, bud.
Yeah, so NATO have bagged and tagged their dead.
Jesus, Andy, anyone ever mentioned you got away with words?
Not really. Anywho, it's a half-assed job. Still a bunch of landmines around. Worth checking out?
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I'll head up there shortly. See what I can do.
So, Nathan, may I ask, when you first came to Oreocastro, what were you doing there?
IDAP asked me to give some talks on landmines.
Talks? Who with?
Anyone who'd listen, really. It was all about raising awareness. Our camp in the town, I still remember it clear as day.
Were there many of you?
From IDAP? No, not really. 4, maybe. Sometimes a couple more, depending on what we had going on. It was mainly logistics, but we did have a doctor and an ambulance. The local priest here, Father Georgiopoulos, he was moving to an Orthodox mission in the Pacific, one of the Horizon Islands.
Did he ever make it?
Yeah, eventually. Tough guy, though. Decided to stay till all the fighting had ended. Said it was his place. Disaster, though, seemed to follow him everywhere.
A tsunami?
Right. Last I heard, he's been helping out with relief efforts. God damn it, Marcos. Kate, hi. Just got a positive ID on our guy at the church.
Then it's confirmed. It's definitely him.
Yeah, it's Marcos. No doubt about it. I don't know if it's helpful, but, I remember hearing about a bunch of NATO guys that wound up working with the guerrillas.
Really? Wait, you mean during the Altis invasion?
No, that's the thing. Beforehand. Rumor has it they escaped Stratus, made it over here, and joined up with the locals.
Thanks, yeah. I'll definitely do some digging.
Hey, fuckhead! You wanna watch where you're walking?
Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't IDAP and NATO share some common goals? The training, for example. The laws of armed conflict?
Sorta. It's a tough one, actually. It was important we didn't overstep the mark.
You had to be impartial.
Precisely. In a conflict, we have to remain neutral, partner to all parties, even those that personally we may object to. Andy, you there?
What? Yeah, I'm not sleeping. What? What's up? We done here?
Yeah. I'll meet you by the van in 5.
All right, Mac. I'll get us packed up.
Only if it's not too much effort, Sleeping Beauty. Hey, it's me.
Hello. Did I hear correctly? You're on the move?
Yeah, next job. Some truck hit an AT mine yesterday. Little ways out from here, I said we'd check up on it.
Okay. I'll not keep you. Thanks again. And good luck out there, Nathan. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye, Kate.